Hi guys, so today we are going to learn how to center a div using Flexbox. Flexbox is probably my best CSS property display to center a div or to center something. So what we are going to do first, I'm going to demonstrate how to do that. Second, we are going to learn the theory about the Flexbox centering divs. And third, we are going to see common case why the Flexbox is not working. So without further delay, let's do this. So we have like here a simple HTML where we have like the body with only one div, which is the parent element, the parent div. And you have here another one that is the child div with two CSS class, child div and square. So to center a div in CSS using Flexbox, it's very simple. First, we come here. In the parent div, we say display flex. After using the display self, use justify content. This is going to align horizontally the div, the child divs inside your Flexbox. And to align vertically, you just have to use the property align items. And here you also say center, and there we go. We have like a div completely center aligned in relation with the parent div. So when you are talking about flex and alignment and the center alignment, we just have to take note about these two properties: justify content and align items. So let's see what they do so we can have a better understanding on how to use that. But these three properties are going to be completely necessary and very useful for Flexbox and to align the divs. So this is two Flexbox. We have like a main container when you have like a flex item and a second flex item. And in a Flexbox, when you say like a flex container, you have the main axis, which is the X axis, and the cross axis, which is the vertical one, the Y axis. So when you put justify content is going to justify horizontally, like here. It's like when you are justifying the content in a Word document. So for example, instead of center, if I put here right, what's going to do? It's going to align the item on the right. The default is left, which will be like that one. And the same it is here to align items. When we have the property align items, this is going to allow us to display the shell container in the vertical way. So here we have center, but for example, we can use align items end, which is going to display at the end of the Y axis, of the cross axis, and start, it's a default, it's going to be on the top. So here we have like the center, and the two properties start and end, you can also use them in the justify content. So if you say justify content end is the same as right, so it goes to the end. And yes, this is the main way how do we center a div using the Flexbox. But in a lot of cases, you are going to encounter situations when you do this and this is not working. Usually it is for some mistakes that we do. Sometimes we have to understand a little better the properties. So let's study these examples now. Okay, so now let's suppose that we have three child divs that we want to center. So the only thing that I add is the new divs. I use the same class to display the width, and after this class S1, S2, S3 to give a different color, and I only gave like a gap of 100. It's again a property that you can access when you display flex, which is going to give let's say a margin between the child elements. So one thing that we are going to do now is just to center this text. This text will be much more beautiful if it will be center. And no problem, we can centering the content inside the flex divs using also a flex div in the context. So let's say if you say justify context center, we are going to align horizontally. And now if you do align items center, it's also going to align vertically. So now the text inside our box, it's beautiful center. Okay, but most of the time when you use Flexbox, we don't want to just use the Flexbox in a row way, because by display, the containers, what it's going to do, they are going to be display in a horizontal way. For example, we have square 1, square 2, square 3. So most of the time we want them in a column. So to display them in a column, we do in the flex, you access the flex property, flex direction, column. And here we have the squares in a column. And now what we want to do, we want to align these in the center. So as you just remember, how do we align things in the center? With justify content, right? So let's try this. If we try to align horizontally this, let's say center, and yeah, nothing happened. Actually, something happened. As you see, it is aligned, but not horizontally. It aligned vertically. So here, if you remove, it's on the top. And if we justify the content center, now it's aligning vertically. What is the reason of this? So this is one of the good things, because we have to learn a little bit about the theory of the Flexbox. And I promise you, it is the most important thing, and 80% you need to understand about Flexbox position. So let's go back to this beautiful image. So here, what we have like the flex, we have like a flex box, a flex container with the flex item 1 and 2. As we saw before, we have like the main axis, which is horizontal, and the cross axis, which is vertical. This works fine when the flex box is in the row, which is the normal display. We can have the flex direction row, which is the normal, and the flex direction column, which displays in the vertical position. But when you do flex direction column, what's going to happen is this is going to rotate. So we have here another picture. So in the row, we have like the flex items displayed that way. So the main axis is the X axis, the horizontal axis. When we display column, you have like a rotation of minus 90 degrees. So the main axis is going to be now the vertical one, and the cross axis is going to be the horizontal one. And so when you are doing justify context, you are still centering along the main axis, but the only difference is the flex container now is upside down. So when you justify content, you justify always in the main axis, but now the main axis is the vertical one. So you are aligning in the vertical way, and to align in the horizontal way, now you are going to have to align the cross axis. And as you remember, to align the cross axis, we use the align items. So now you also have to use align items to align in the column display. So let's see this. If we come here and say align items, and let's say center, and there is now the items are aligned in the center. We haven't used the justify context because our flex direction now is column. So when your flex direction is column, the property align items and justify content, they invert. And they invert because of this, because this is the main axis in the row. It's the horizontal one, but the main axis in the column is the Y one. It's the vertical one. And to center everything, you just have to say justify content, center, and there is. Now we have the 3 child divs beautiful centered. And now let's see another common case where our flex alignment center can go wrong. So let's do this. Okay, so for this example, I have resetted the styles that we previously have. Like now we only have 1 square, and the square I still maintain the styling to have the text in the center, but I remove the other 2 squares. Okay, now let's try to align this again on the center. So we already know how to do this. So we have a parent div, which is our container, and here we have our child div where all our flex properties will be aligned. So here, let's say display flex, and now let's do justify content, that center. So everything is working good now. And now let's say that we say forget this. We want to align the items center, to align them vertically, but now we save and nothing is happening. Why? Like, this is the same properties that we had like some moments ago, and now it's not working. So why that it's happening? We did everything the same. And this is good. This is a good example, because it's a very common mistake that you are going to face in the future. Because for the display property to occur, you have to have some size in your parent div. I'm going to say what was the difference between this parent div now and the other one. The other one, what we had like some height, we had like 100 view height, and now the text is going to be perfect in the center. So what that happens? So to visualize that better, let's say background color gray. Okay, so this is our parent div. Our parent div is a gray one, but when we remove the height, we only have the height that fits our child div. So even if we set the property align item center, it is going to only center vertically to the space which is displayed. So for you to be able to center, you always have to understand and to make sure that your parent div has some space before. And you can adjust this the way that you want. So if we say like height, for example, 600 pixels, actually, but you have like height, which almost perfectly match this image. So let's do like 400, and it's going to be center in the div, but you are centering in the div container. So if you want like more height, you do like this, and less height, you do like this. And the same way that you can target the height, when you do like, for example, the width, it's going to be the same thing. So let's say 400 pixels. Now our div container, for example, if you didn't know that 2 properties, if you don't have like the background color, you will not know what is happening, why it's entering here. But the reason is because our parent div, it's in this position. Okay, and this is it. So let's just do a brief recap. So to align, the 2 main properties are these 2, justify content and align items. And justify content, it's going to align horizontally, and justify and align items, it's going to align vertically better. Justify content, it's going to align in the main axis, and align item in the cross axis. So this is why when you are in the column, we are still aligning in the main axis, but now the main axis is vertical and the cross axis is the other way around. So for debug, always check what is the flex directions that you are in. And the second thing that you have to check for debug, it's the align items and justify content is going to take the space of the parent div. So if you have like parent div with 50 view height, we are going to have not the div displayed in the center, but in the 25% of all the view height. And that's it. If you enjoyed this video and you think it was valuable, like, share and subscribe. And I wish you an amazing day. So see you in the next one.